Hi everybody, I'm Peter and welcome to my YouTube channel, Oh For Pete's Sake .stitch, where I talk about what I've done for the last month on my cross stitch patterns. If you're new, welcome, and if you're returning and you've seen one of my other videos, just welcome back, and thanks to everybody who has left comments or emailed me for questions or clarification on some points. So just thanks to the community. So it's my first video for 2026, so I hope everybody had a really good Christmas and New Year's, and have a really good start to that new year. I'm going to be titling this the mini starts a few finishes, because that's exactly what I have to show you today. So I'm going to start with my finishes and then my works in progresses, and then that will be the end of the video. So after the last video, I started to work on Hannah Phillips by Needlework Press, and I didn't want to be stitching any more red thread, which is crazy because I love red, but everything that I worked in November and December was red and pink, and so I needed something blue, so which is my second favorite color. So I had shown this book, Deck the Halls by Blackbird Designs, and I had everything kitted and ready to go, and one of the designs that is in here is called First Day of Christmas. And the book includes 6 strawberries. So this was the first one that I worked on, and it's got a nice little blue partridge in a pear tree. And that only took 3 days, and it was still too soon to work on my Christmas Day start. So I ended up also starting the wrong way, Christmas cactus. So that was my second new start and finish. While I've got the book open, I'll just show you that what's interesting about this book is that of the 6 projects, Barb and Alma have a finish of the strawberry as was originally intended, and then they also show a second way of finishing. And sometimes the finish, like this one for example, is a photograph that they take of the piece and put it on a box. So it's just very creative ways of doing our cross stitch. And so here are my 2 finishes that I've had over the past month. So the project on the left is the First Day of Christmas. It's done by Blackbird Designs. It's worked on Weeks Dye Works straw, 36 count, and I just used overdyed floss that I had in my stash. And then the piece on the right is Christmas Cactus, also by Blackbird Designs. It's stitched on Fiber on a Whim Latte, 36 count, again with overdyed floss from stash. And my board is a Zweigart mocha, maybe light mocha. I think it's, yeah. Anyways, it's just plain, so you can see how much yellow or how pale those 2 fabrics are. And all 6 are worked on different linens. And so I just went through my linen stash and found some pieces that work. And I meant to dig that out. So it was about 3 years ago. Oh my goodness. 3 years ago, I did a piece by Blackbird Designs called Patchwork. And it's got 5 different linens. And so I had to buy 5 pieces of linen. And so these are all of the the berries will be done on the remnants from that piece. I meant to dig that out, but I'll just have to show it next time. And hopefully I can get some of these strawberries finished over the next month. They only take 3 to 4 days after work, so really quick pieces, and I've already got everything pulled. So those are my two starts and finishes that I had for the past month. So now I'm going to show you some of my works in progresses that I'm still working on. My next new start is the my Christmas Day new start, which actually we were out of town, so I started it a few days early just so that way I would have all of the pieces ready. But it's my Christmas break start, which for Christmas I always do a Blackbird Design sampler, and so the 2025 piece comes from Winds of Autumn, and it's the sampler that's on the back, and it's called A Sister's Love. And in preparation for the 250th anniversary of the semi-cinquentennial, I've changed mine to be red, white, and blue. And so this is how much progress I've made on A Sister's Love. So you can see that after all of the alphabets were Alma's, it's Alma's name and her sister's. And I always put family names on my Blackbird designs. So this is the family members who fought in the Revolutionary War. And so I made my own problem. I really did make my own problem, because I knew my grandfather's name was Breed, because Breed shows up. I think it's for another 2 or 3 more generations afterwards. So it's one that I see often. And so I'm like, plus I knew him from the history of fighting in the Revolutionary War. And so I'm like, okay, great. That's who I'm going to put on this sampler. And foolishly, I didn't remember his wife's name. And Hutchinson is a very long name to fit into a space. So I did have to, you'll notice that the ends that I ended up using in Hutchinson are not as wide as the ends that are in the alphabet that is provided. And my O's got lowered from, because the bottom and the top bars of the O are 3 stitches wide, so I had to change it to just 2 stitches wide. Typically, I like to have a little bit more space between names, but just in order to make it all fit, I had to narrow it a little bit more. So it's still turned out amazing. One of the other problems that I had was I had done, let's see, and you can sort of see it in the light, but I had done A through N, and I had done W through 5, all of the red borders, and I had done from like here up to the corner and over. I had done all of that, and the entire time I was stitching those alphabets and portions of the border, I kept telling myself that the red was a little bit too orange, because reds can skew more towards orange, or they can be a red that skews more towards blue. This one was more of a red orange, and I kept telling myself, no, it's fine. It's just because it is a faded red that makes it look orange. No problem. Go ahead and do it. Except for I was stitching on it at Christmas, and we had gone we had rented a house with some friends from kickball. They don't cross stitch. And the very first thing that one of them said was, "Oh, you're stitching with orange and blue." And it's like, oh shoot. That is not the response that I wanted people to have when you first see it. So I ended up having to change it. And so my colors are I changed it to Weeks Dye Works Baked Apple, which is great because that's a color that Blackbird Designs uses a lot. So what I had before this was used brick, which is another one that Blackbird uses a lot. But I ended the final color is Baked Apple. I've got a Gentle Arts Freedom is my dark blue. My lighter blue is the Blue Corn, and then my white is Weeks Dye Works Light Khaki. So it's not a brilliant white just because I didn't want it to stand out too much. But my blues, one is dark, a little bit darker than the other. But when you look at what is charted, the DMCs, it is all charted for overdyed floss, but the recommended DMCs are 611 and 612. So they're two shades that are very close together, but you can sort of get an appearance of a little bit more depth with two different colors. So the overdyeds that are called for are hazelnut and pecan, which depending on the dye lot, those two can look dang near the same. So 433 and 434, sorry. Still, it's one number different for DMC, so having two blues that look close is really nice. So it's one of those things that when you enter the numbers into a calculator, you can be like, oh, that's the size, but I am very surprised with how small this one is, which is why I can make so much progress. Oh, one other thing, and this is somewhat important. The border. So when you do the first three of this top bar of the vine, it is 3 stitches wide, and then the fourth one is 4 stitches, and then it goes back to 3. So just know that the sides are all 3 stitches, but and it's the same for the bottom. Like the fourth bar is 4 stitches. So it's just something to be very aware of it happening. So just be careful. Yep. So that's A Sister's Love. And now I'll show you the next one. The next start I had was my New Year's Day, New Year's New Start, which is Modern Folk Embroideries Little Acorns, which is the Modern Folk Embroideries Stitch Along for 2026. The JasonXStitches, he's got an amazing YouTube station or Flosstube station, where he talked about the amazing story that he has behind his Sarah Stitchy Spot. She has started it, and there's 2 others that I can't. I'll put them down below when I remember them. But the last time I talked about how I was going to do an ombre effect. Some people suggested doing an NPI and going after NPIs, and I just wasn't able to get to a shop and see them in person. So I'm going to be doing mine with 4 colors of DMC from lightest to darkest. And so the first band was what had to be done, or was the suggested portion to be finished for the first month. So I made that finished, and then I started the second band just because I've got a really busy February for work. So I had to, I wanted to get a little bit ahead just so that way I could keep up. This is Little Acorns by Modern Folk Embroidery. I'm stitching it on Hometown Fibers Queenie 40 count Verdal. So it's an even weave, which is actually really amazing to work on. Well, first off, the fabric is really soft, and it is very true to 40 count. And what's interesting is that since it is an even weave like Lugana, or it's all of my stitches are even, and so when you do all of this angle work, like here in the flower or at the base, you get a really nice sharp gradient. It's not like a true linen where you get slubs that can sort of cause your line to be a bit cattywampus. They're all even. So this band and the second band are done with DMC 3051. And then the next band is when I'm going to be changing colors to DMC 936 or 934. I can't remember right now, but yeah. So this was a lot of fun to stitch on. It's really great to work with one thread. It is great to work with DMC, just because when I do DMC, I do a line at a time, whereas with overdyed, I do one stitch and then I work back and forth. But so that's my start for Little Acorns. And I moved things around on my wall so that way my Modern Folk Embroidery Fruits of Plenty, which was the SAL for 2021. 2021 was in the frame for this time, just so that way you can see where it's going to probably go on the other side. So yeah, so that's my new Modern Folk Embroidery SAL. So yep. The final work in progress that I put in some stitches is not a new start. It's a work in progress that we've seen before, which is Hannah Phillips 1826 by Needlework Press. And the model, the Addicts, the Sampler Symposium, that's what it is. The Addicts Sampler Symposium was this past weekend. So a lot of people were posting a photo of the model, and it makes me itching to get back to working on this piece. But it's an absolutely beautiful piece to work on, and so this is how far I've gotten on mine. So what have I worked on? Sorry, I'm just trying to get it straight. There we are. What have I worked on in the past month? Well, in the last video, I had the house and this star finished. So I've stitched the border around and finished these 3 floral motifs. And then I stitched, I had this large floral motif in the basket finished. So I've done these 3 floral motifs and these 2 quilt stars on that side. I really just wanted to finish pages. That's how I usually mark progress, is like, okay, I'm going to finish a page. And so that's why I've spent more time on this side, is because once I finish these stars, I'll have this page of the corner finish. The other thing that I've made excellent progress on is all of the words and the foliage that's in the cartouche. So in the last video, I think I was like either on this set or this. I was somewhere here. So I've finished around the corner, and then I only had 3 sets of leaves done over here. So I've come this far down on the leaves. And then for the quote, I have added, I've almost doubled the number of lines that I had previously. The poem with the author's name at the end, I have 14 lines of writing to do. And so this is the beginning of line 10. So making excellent progress on all of that over one. I'm just so excited to see this poem coming together. So hopefully I can get the middle cartouche finished in February. That's my big. So the poem is focused on the first time you meet somebody. And my husband and I had our first date on February 9th, 20 years ago. So we're celebrating our 20th, and so it'd be nice if I could finish that poem. There's absolutely no way I could finish the entire piece by that anniversary, but it would be nice to have at least the poem and the cartouche finished in time for our anniversary. The other thing that I want to point out is that there is a little couple here in the corner. I love over one in my poem because it gives me the ability to do a poem that I've wanted to stitch for a very long time, but I'm getting a little exhausted with over one. And so these people are over one. And I've gone through my patterns, and I found the Brenda Keyes book has some people that are the perfect height to put in this space, so that way I can put a couple in the sampler without having to do more over one. So it'll be nice to have them holding hands on the piece. Oh, sorry, I didn't tell you. This is Hannah Phillips, 1826, by Needlework Press. The fabric is Needle Bling Heirloom 36 count, using the recommended overdyed cottons. Yeah, so it's turning out so amazing. So, yep. So that's my last works in progress. For haul, I haven't purchased anything. I realized when editing my December that I didn't do haul, and even then the only thing I had was some free patterns from the Jingle Ball. So I do have some gift certificates and cash from Christmas that I'll probably end up buying a pattern or 2 or 3 in the next month. So that will be fun. I've already got an idea of what I might be getting. And then I bought some DMC for little acorns. So that's the extent of my haul for the last 2 months is DMC. So that's nice. Maybe I saved some money. Yeah, right. Plans. My plans are to get as much done of that poem on Hannah Phillips, and then maybe another strawberry. I don't know. We'll see. I've got a work trip coming up, so I've got to pack something that's easier to pack. So it might be one of those strawberries, or who knows? I don't know. We'll figure it out when it comes. But the only plan I have is Hannah Phillips. So if you've made it this far, thanks for tuning in. It's not really tuning in. Thanks for listening to my video, and look forward to seeing y'all next month. Thanks.